What's happening, everybody? So a couple things have changed. One, we are now getting our high top installed in North Carolina instead of LA. They're about $1,200 cheaper, so we're gonna go that route. And the second thing that's changed is Evie's brother is gonna be here in about a week, and he wants to use the Astro, so we are putting a new transmission in the Astro, or just getting the transmission fixed if it's something simple that we don't need to replace the whole thing. So I found a transmission shop through a little bit of research that has incredible reviews and good prices, and they're hard workers and they're honest. So we're taking it there to have the transmission looked at, and then once we get back, we'll be finishing up the cabinets. We got them painted and got the laminate installed on the top, so we're gonna cut that out and install all the hardware and all the plumbing and wire up all the stuff, and maybe even put the cabinet in the new van today. So I'm excited. Oh man, everybody's hitting their brakes. All right, so we are back now. Here is the cabinet. Check out the finish on that. I know it's a little overexposed, the sun is bright out here. And here's the top. This is vinyl. Wow, it's hot. It gets so hot in the sun. What's the name for this? I want to say Lyrica, but it's not Lyrica, it's something else. Anyway, we glued the stuff on last night and down on the little table that folds out too. So now we got to cut the edges off and cut out the hole for the sink and the sink and the bowl thing to go in. So we're gonna do that with a router. All right, so I've never used a router before, so we're gonna experiment with this piece of formica, which is the word I was looking for earlier, clamped to a piece of plywood, and see how this goes. I don't know how much dust this thing spits out or what comes out of this thing, so I'm just gonna wear safety goggles and without a dust mask, so a respirator too.
That doesn't look scary. No. That looks nice.
Okay, let's check this out. Oh yeah, look at that. It could have gone in just a little bit more, but I think you're supposed to file this when you're done anyway. Yeah.
We got the file.
Overhangs just a little bit. Yeah, so we'll file this when we're done, so that's nice and smooth.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the thing is super easy to control. I didn't feel like it was sketchy at all.
Yeah.
It just went right into the formica, and then I hit this edge, and look, it didn't cut into the plywood at all because I adjusted it correctly.
Nice.
So this should be super easy. I think we should just bring the cabinets out here and just go for it. What do you think? Okay, so these are done. They look great. Look at those lines. They stick out just barely stick out. So we're gonna use a file and even that out a little bit and round off the edges so it's nice and smooth, and it's not gonna get caught on anything and pull back or anything like that. We're just gonna use a standard file here. But before we do that, we gotta cut out the holes for the sink and the faucet down here, which we're gonna use the router for, but unable to get the router bit in there, we need to drill a hole. So I'm gonna use my drill bit set here and start really small and move our way up. And I wanted to talk a second about how we attach this. We did it last night. It was really quick once we figured out how to cut it. This stuff breaks really easily. So we ended up, we started with a jigsaw and I broke the piece, and I was like, it was so frustrating. And then we ended up looking up more, and we had a skill saw with a really fine tooth blade. So we just used that to cut it to the pieces, the size that we just cut. And then we used this weldwood contact cement and painted it on both sides, set it down, left it overnight, upside down with something heavy on top, and here it is. So it's actually pretty easy once you get to this point. It was like $60 for this sheet of laminate, but
It was huge.
yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
But this is going to be really easy to clean. It's waterproof, and it looks good. I think it looks really good. I mean, maybe not as good as like real granite, but it looks awesome.
It looks, I mean, especially with our colors, like the way we
Yeah.
painted it with white and gray.
It matches really good.
It matches perfect because it's like dark, but then it has light spots in here, like gray and white, so it matches perfect.
All right, so the filing part of this is pretty easy. This particular file has two sides. One has grooves only going this way. That's the finer side, and the other side has crosses in it, and that'll take it down a lot farther. I guess it's okay. I'm not like experienced this. This is not like a how-to. This is how I'm doing it. You should definitely, if you're gonna do this, you should look up videos and watch videos on how professionals do it, who do it all the time. The first time I've ever done this, we just finished with the other side and it turned out looking really good though. So I want to show you how I do it. So for this first part where it sticks out quite a bit, I do a couple passes with the cross side. So I hold my palm on this side and I just do long strokes. And I do a couple passes with this just to knock it down and get the, if there's any burred edge on it, off. I think the key is kind of long strokes, you know, so that way it stays straight. It's not, you know, if you just go like this, you're gonna end up with a super wavy line on it. I'm gonna do one more pass, cross side. There we go. Yeah, that's good. And now I'll do it this way, and I'm holding it about as straight as I can, and then once I'm done, I'll do a couple more passes this way, and then I'll kind of hold it like this, at like about that much of an angle, to give it a nice rounded smooth edge. Alright, so for this next part, we're gonna fix the drain plug strainer thing, whatever you call it. What do you call this thing?
Drain?
The drain, I guess, yeah, in our salad bowl here. So I'm just gonna use some plumber's putty.
What does it look like? Ew. Why is it so weird?
Why is it weird?
Is it supposed to do that? It looks like Play-Doh.
You wanna buy it?
No.
I don't think it's good for you.
It's supposed to be that consistency?
Yeah. It's putty.
So it's like Play-Doh.
Yeah, pretty much. And I got this thing in like halfway. You have to spin it to get in because we left the hole kind of tight. So I'm just going to force it under here and spread it out as best I can.
I thought it would be like more liquefied for some reason, like this,
Really?
like this stuff is. Yeah, that's what I thought it would be. I've never seen stuff. I've never seen a putty before, so.
Alright, now I'm going to get it to come down on the bottom.
Some of it is coming off.
Yeah, it'll come out a little bit.
Oh.
There's a lot in there. You kind of twist. There we go, so it's down all the way. Install my rubber seal here. And the nut. Forgot to grab a pipe wrench.
What does the nut do?
Tightens it down.
What's the pipe wrench? What's that thing?
Tighten the nut. Yeah. So now I'm going to go get a pipe wrench and tighten this up a bit. And
Do you have one?
then clean off the excess. Okay, so I got the drain in there real good. I tightened it up pretty good. And now we're going to put silicone around the sink and set it in place. And probably put something heavy in there to hold it down and make it seal really well. But it's kind of a challenge because the inside of this bowl has this big lip on it. So I guess we're just going to have to fill it up pretty well with silicone here. Okay, now that I got it in there, I'm going to spread it around and around and around. There we go. That should be good. And then drop it in place. Push it down. Yeah, it squirted out most of the sides, but not all of them. So I think what I'll do is put a thin strip around it. Okay, so for the next part, we're going to install the faucet here. We both like this piece on. They put the, you know, it's not necessary. You put this on to cover up holes from if you have several different temperatures separate, you know, so there would be multiple holes. This is to cover up those holes. But we like the look of it for whatever reason. We just think it looks better. So we're going to install it, and then after I get done tightening this up, which seems like it's going to take forever, we're going to put a little ring of silicone around it so water doesn't get down in it in case we splash some. Okay, this might be kind of hard to explain, but this thing is made for 2 temperatures. So you've got your hot and your cold over here, hot, cold. But we only have 1 temperature, so we're going to spin this whole thing over here so that it's always on cold. and cold is lined up in the center, just because it looks so much better. So much better. And that also means that this part can move like this. Normally it should move all the way over here and all the way over here, but since this is on cold and right here, that means this can only move that far over that way, but it can move this far over this way. So when we pull this out to do a shower, it's not going to be at an extreme bend like that. So it'll be a little more convenient to use. So that's kind of a cool little surprise for us. Okay, so we built this table to go right here and fold down like that. And for that, we got these hinges off of Amazon, and they go like this. And they're super freaking strong. I can't believe how strong these are. And then they've got this lever right here that you push to collapse it. And they stick out a little ways, but they're so strong that we wanted to be able to put weight on this and stuff. So we're gonna attach these, and I think we're gonna do it this way instead of this way. It just makes a little more sense to have the handle under here, and I think it'll be strong enough when we put it this way. Maybe it'll help with warping our table, because we use thin plywood, warped a little bit. So when we set it up against this, can you check my framing? Can the camera see this?
They can't really see the difference.
Okay, so anyway, when I set it here, this one's warped under a little bit, so we're gonna set this one a little high to make up for the difference. Okay, so we decided to put these on the door first. That way it's nice and flush and flat, and we can just hold this up, figure out exactly where we want it. Issue is we already put the laminate on the other side of this, and so we can only go so thick through it to drill our pilot hole. So what I came up with is, luckily our drill bits have these on the end, so we can just stick them in this extension thing. I don't even know what this is called. And then this slides, so we can figure out exactly how far this can go in, and then we can measure it. So it's just a little bit before where the laminate starts, and then I can take a hose clamp and put it on the end of this, and it'll prevent this from going back and us drilling too far and drilling out the side of the brand new laminate we just did. And then I can also use this to put the Phillips head in, which I don't know where it went. I take this out, put the Phillips head in, and I can go into these tight spaces. So this is awesome for doing this. Yeah, so we're gonna do that real quick and then hold it up and drill it into the actual cabinet. Okay, so I'm just gonna hold this in place exactly where I think we want it, and she's gonna mark the holes, then we'll drill the pilot holes and drill it in. Man, this thing warped a lot. Sucks. What do you think about if it's up this much?
Yeah, that's fine.
It's hard for me to tell if it's level or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right here.
Right there?
Looks like it's leveled, yeah.
Okay. You want to mark?
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah.
Done.
Is that as good for you as it was for me?
Oh yeah.
Alright, so this thing is like suddenly like pulling together all this hard work that we've been doing for at least a week now on this thing, and putting this thing together. Planning it took forever, deciding on exactly what we wanted to do, and we're doing things neither of us have ever done before, so we had to do a bunch of research and really think this stuff out. It wasn't just like slop it together kind of thing for us, but it's really pulling together now. We're gonna mount the cabinet doors real quick. We got these hinges. I think I showed these before. They snap into place, so it'll help keep them closed. I don't know if it'll totally keep them closed, but anyway, since they have some resistance on them, I'm gonna set them out like this. Set the door here. Evie's gonna hold this in place, square against this, so that the cabinet doors are a little bit high. I cut them just a little bit short so they could be a little higher like that, so that we could easily open them in the van, and they're not going to catch on the floor. Even if the floor has like spots that come up or there's something on the floor, they'll never drag on the bottom. So yeah, we're going to do that real quick. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention is that these hinges, and I think most hinges, are adjustable, so I can loosen all these 4 screws and move this whole door up and down. The main thing was getting the door flush against these, which we looks like we did not do. So we're gonna have to redo these ones. That sucks.
Oh, flush against it.
Yeah, I thought we were supposed to hold it that way. All right, guys. So I messed up on that top cabinet part, and I'm fixing it now. So what I did is I dropped some wood glue in the hole down here, and then I stuck a toothpick in there, and then I cut it off. This one kind of, there's a little extra piece on there, but I stick the toothpick in here like this, and then I cut it off. And the idea behind that is that wood glue is stronger than wood, but it's going to take forever to dry, and it probably won't be as strong in a big clump. So the idea is to put wood in the middle of it. So tomorrow we'll just sand this off and then repaint it real quick, and then stick it back on there and redo the holes, and they should be good to go. So otherwise these holes would have to be widened, and the screw would not stay in there. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with a part 2 very soon, doing the actual like plumbing and wiring and everything. That silicone's got a set, and we're running out of daylight, and we have some other stuff to do tonight, so we can get up early and get going on this again and finish this thing up and get it in the van. See you next time. Love yourself.